Morning, guys. I was so tired last night. I literally just fell asleep and did not even put on my PJs, but I did have on this cozy t-shirt. So yeah, I fell right asleep. But nevertheless, happy Thanksgiving. I hope everyone, well, I know by the time you see this video, Thanksgiving would be gone. So I hope everyone had a really enjoyable Thanksgiving, even though it was a little bit different and you didn't get to celebrate with everybody that you are used to. But I really do hope that you guys enjoyed the time with your immediate family and really just that intimacy. I bet some of you guys really needed it, and I bet it just felt beyond beautiful. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the time together, and the food that you guys prepared, I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. So right now what I am going to do is start getting ready to rock and roll. So the first things first, take your turkey out. It needs to come to room temp for about 2 hours before you put it in the oven. So as you can see, the turkey is nice and dry. The skin is beautifully dry. So this is going to be a nice crispy bird. So what I'm doing is just leaving this for about 2 hours to sit to get room temp. And in the meantime, I'm going to be prepping or making my cheese biscuits. Okay, so let's talk stuffing. I'm gonna be using some beef sausage, and this is the kielbasa. So I'm using 2 links of the regular smoked one, and then I'm using 2 of the jalapeno flavor. So to the dry pan, I'm just gonna dump all of that in and brown it. I just want to get some beautiful color and render some of the fat from the sausage. Okay, so once your sausage reaches this kind of color, we're going to add a couple tablespoons of butter, because why not? It's the holidays. So about 3 or 4 tablespoons of butter goes in. Let's just melt this. And then we're going to add in celery and onions. I'm going to continue to cook this until the onion and celery has softened. We're not looking to get major color on the onion and celery, just to sweat it and get it nice and soft and translucent. We're not going to be adding any salt, just black pepper, because the sausage is pretty salty, and we're going to be using some bone broth. So once everything is nice and soft, you're going to add in a little bit of garlic, not too much. And you're going to let this go for about 30 seconds or so, just until you start to smell the garlic. So at this point, we're going to bump up the flavor game here and add in fresh parsley, fresh thyme, fresh rosemary, and a little bit of fresh sage. Sprinkle all of that goodness in there. But the trinity herb for Thanksgiving is the sage, rosemary, and thyme. It just does something to your dish around the holidays. It really does bring it to life. And parsley is just a nice, fresh, lemony flavor. It's so good. I love using parsley, and it's so good for you. Okay, so we don't want to cook the fresh herbs too much, so we're gonna leave this mixture and let it come to room temp, and then we can... Okay, so stuffing. We have our 1 bag of stuffing. To that, we're gonna add all of our yummy goodness. So just give it a quick toss to combine everything. And in order to make less mess, I say go in with your clean hands. Okay, so to act as my binder, I'm going to be just using 1 egg. And then to really bump up this stuffing, I'm going to be using some bone broth. This has a lot of delicious collagen in here and a lot of protein. So I'm starting with about 1.5 cups, and I'm going based on the feeling. So based on the feel of this, I think I'm going to use the rest of my broth, because remember this is store-bought stuffing mix and it's super, super dry. If you can kind of mash up some of the cubes, that will be perfect. As you can see, all of the liquid, the bread is soaking up all of this goodness. Get your baking dish out. And this is really and truly optional. You can just rub in some butter. So what you want to do is take all of your stuffing mix. Okay, so you want to make sure and cover this. You're going to be cooking this covered for about 30-ish minutes and then uncovered for about 15 to 20. Okay, so now that our turkey has come to room temp, we are going to start. Let me move this stuffing mixture. So we're going to start to basically give this bird a butter massage. So we have our beautiful softened butter here. Basically what you want to do first is stuff the inside of the bird under the skin. So take some of that butter and just stick it in there. Push it down in. This is going to ensure the breast is nice and juicy. Okay. You have to have a lot of protection on the breast of the turkey because this cooks a lot faster than the legs and the thigh. That's why you put the probe in the thickest part of the thigh to ensure that the whole bird is cooked. Okay, so I'm doing this a little bit different. I'm actually going to be cooking this turkey in this cast iron. I didn't preheat it. I should have, but we're going to just go with it here. Okay, so because it's in this cast iron, I'm not going to be tucking the wings under. The wings can stay right there and it should be fine, but I am going to be tying the legs. I am not a professional in tying the legs of the turkey. I hope you guys could see. Let me see. Okay, so I'm just going to just like you tie a shoelace. This is just to ensure the legs stay together and the bird kind of cooks evenly. I'm going to be leaving the excess string so I can easily find it to cut it off. All right, so we have our beautiful bird. Let me just wash my hands real quick. And I started my oven at 400, so now I'm gonna put it at 350. So I preheated to 400 and now I'm putting it at 350 and the bird is going in. Perfect. Okay, so a little trick to prevent this breast from getting burnt up in the oven. Once you have achieved that beautiful golden color that you like, take some foil and just nest it around the breast of the bird. And then finish it in the oven that way. So the foil acts as the barrier so it doesn't get any more brown. Okay, so you always want to start your potato in cold water. So I have my chopped up russet potatoes, a bunch of garlic and salt. Okay, so in a saucepan, I'm going to warm up milk, and some bone broth goes in. So we added a stick of butter to the bone broth and milk. Once that comes up to temp and it's nice and warm, I'm going to be adding in some cream cheese into the actual potato first before I add the warm cream in. Okay, so for my mashed potatoes, I used my ricer, and garlic and the potatoes got smashed. So this is the ricer, so I just scooped the potatoes and the garlic in there and I squeezed it down. This I use only about 2 times a year, Thanksgiving and Christmas, because you get a beautiful mashed potato. Mac and cheese, boiling water and salt. Because I bake my mac and cheese, I do not cook the pasta all the way through. I cook it for half the time that the package recommends. You want it to be a little bit toothsome, more than al dente, because it's going to continue cooking in the oven. So you don't want to overcook your noodles and get mushy noodles. So I'm gonna let this go for about maybe just 5 minutes, and that should be good. 1 stick of butter that's melted. I'm just gonna sprinkle in a little bit of flour. We're making a roux. I don't want too much flour because the cheese is going to be doing most of the thickening. So basically what you want to do here is cook the flour. You don't want to taste the raw flour in your roux. Usually for a roux it's equal parts of butter and flour, but I don't like using too much flour. So at this point I'm going to pour in my milk. I'm using 2 cups of whole milk and 2 cups of half and half. You can always add more milk when needed. And to my milk mixture, I'm going to be adding in some ground mustard. This is like my secret ingredient to my mac and cheese. And I don't have specific measurements. I really and truly just eyeball. And then I'm going to be adding in just a pinch of salt, not too much. Fresh black pepper. You can use white pepper. So once the milk has come up to temp, it's nice and hot, I'm going to slowly add in some bone broth and continue whisking. So between a cup and 2 of bone broth is good. Perfect. So now I'm going to start adding in my cheese. I'm going to add it slowly. Some medium cheddar, the Colby sharp cheddar, mozzarella, some Monterey Jack, and some cheddar Monterey. I'm going to slowly melt all of this cheese in. My heat is on low. So once most of the cheese is melted, I'm going to add the rest. And at this point, I'm not too worried about it fully melting because this is going to finish cooking the oven. So I'm going to break up the noodles just to loosen them up a little bit. As you can see, it's not sticking that much because we added the butter in there. All of this into here. I dumped basically about half of it. I'm going to give it a stir, add the rest in. And if there's excess liquid, as you could see here, you need that to finish cooking the noodles in the oven. So I'm going to pour in some of the mac and cheese. just because it's the holidays, I'm going to sprinkle a layer of cheese on top.
One of my biggest dreams in life was to be on Food Network, and I'm so happy. Put together a holiday dessert to
And then more cheese goes on top. So this has to cover and bake. So it's going to be covered for about 30 minutes and then uncovered for about 20.